Well, using the phrase from the movie Friday, so I'm going to say this. I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. But today is Friday. I'm going to get you high today. Because you ain't got no job. You ain't got shit to do. Well, we are going to get high. But not high on you know what. We're going to get high on pro wrestling. So as you know, we have Ring of Honor's Supercard of Honor. Now, of course, many of us know if you are Ring of Honor fans or just pro wrestling fans in general, this particular event takes normally place during WrestleMania week. But I have to say it's a very interesting move from Tony Khan to move it a day before All In, which I have to say a genius move. So we're going to go from the 0 hour with some matches involved, including the main card that features, of course, all championship matches. So we're going to go from A to Z, start to finish, see how things will progress. Now for our championship matches, the real question we ask ourselves, we will see title exchanges or whatever. But we do know, as you know, there's going to be an interim ROH Women's World Television Champion who will walk out as the interim. Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. And then, of course, as always, we will cap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. Let's get down to business. So, today is going to be only a one review only, and I apologize for all of you things that reason is this, things didn't go according to plan for me. But as of right now, let's just do what we can. So, let's get to it with Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. Okay, Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. Now, for those who are not familiarized with Ring of Honor on this particular event, this is like their version of Wrestlemania. And this normally happens during Wrestlemania week. But for whatever reason, Tony Khan decided to push it back until now, a day before, of course, All In, which was a very interesting strategic move because you got to think about it. Not a lot of people are going to watch this during WrestleMania week if you're just a pro wrestling fan in general instead of a die-hard WWE fan, if you know what I mean. But anyway, let's begin, of course, with some of the matches involving the 0 Hour, which is, of course, the pre-show. Our first match, we have Jay Lethal versus Blake Christian. Now, of course, last time we saw Blake Christian, he was getting manhandled by Ricochet, in the match. But he faces against a former ROH World Champion. Now, recently, we have witnessed Blake Christian has taken aim for the ROH World title, targeting Bandito. But this could be a good put himself in a position where he could be next in line to challenge Bandito or Konosuke Takeshita, whoever walks out in the main event. So Blake Christian was able to pick up the win by applying the vanilla choke zone, which also known as the Mudo Lock. And just like that, Lethal had no choice but to tap out. Now, our next match, we have the members of the Dark Order. More specifically, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, and Evil Uno taking on, of course, the Frat House, consisting of Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, and Cole Carter. Now, things would have gone the Frat House ways because of their interference without the surprise visit of someone from Preston Vance's past, and of course, would I say the leader of the Dark Order, Brody Lee Jr. Yep, as you know, Brody Lee Jr. has some axe to grind against Preston Vance, and I don't think he saw that one coming, but Preston Vance was the one who had to pay the price for his betrayal, and that way they took him out, and it was in fact Evil Uno who picked up the win by pinning Vance with the discus lariat, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, we did see a bit of a promo with the combined forces of MXM TV, which is consisted of Mason Madden, Mansoor, Johnny TV, and Tail Valkyrie. They recently came back, of course, from Japan, and now that they're comparing that the Japanese people are far more better than people here in the United States, so they were building up in that fashion, so we'll see how that goes out. Now, our next match, we have Lady Frost versus Diamante, so nothing too special, but of course, many of us would think that Diamante will definitely make a move for a championship opportunity. The last one she aimed for was for the ROH Women's World Television title, which she lost. But she was able to defeat Lady Frost by applying a brand new move we never seen her do, which is kind of like you're trying to do something, you have the person on the ropes, but you twist them. I don't know what she called that. That was something new in her arsenal. So that can play in effect one day for a future title shot. Now, our last match involving the 0 Hour, we have the premier athletes, Aya Davari and Tony Nese, taking on the Von Erichs, Ross and Marshall. Now, of course, when it comes to the premier athletes, we know that Weasel, Mark Sterling will get involved and all that stuff. So that kind of sets it up. But unfortunately, it was, of course, Marshall with a moonsault onto Tony Nese. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, the Von Erichs won the match. Now, before we get into the main card, we did see the last thing that happened in the 0 Hour. Shane Taylor had a briefcase waiting for the arrival of the Infantry, who is now ready to become ROH World Tag Team Champions, which is titles we know long before they joined the Shane Taylor promotions. This is what they wanted. So we'll see what happens when we get there. Now, let's jump in, of course, with the main card of Supercard of Honor. Our first match, we have Hechi Seto versus Michael Oku. So those who don't know who Michael Oku is, he is a former Rev Pro undisputed British heavyweight champion from the British promotion Rev Pro. And I have to say, him being there was pretty cool. But he had to face against a guy who was a master technical wrestler, and you know how that is. But it was Hechi Seto that picked up the win with a somewhat of what they call it, a guillotine leg DDT. Never seen anything like it, but that allowed him to pick up the win in that fashion. Now, our next match is a $50,000 four-way match featuring Adam Priest, Lee Johnson, Atlantis Jr., and R.A. Fox. So now, of course, in four ways, anything could happen. We don't know exactly how the result was going to be, but it could happen either way. Of course, Lee Johnson was running his mouth saying that this is his and all that, but in the end, it was AR Fox that picked up the win onto Adam Priest, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match is for the ROH Pure Wrestling Championship. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Blue Panther taking on Lee Moriarty. Now, the reason this match happened, if you guys saw the ROH Global Wars when AEW and Ring of Honor went to Arena Mexico, Lee Moriarty lost to Blue Panther, and now he wants to put his title on the line against him, and that's exactly what it is. And Blue Panther is no stranger when it comes to technical wrestlers. I mean, you look at Bryan Danielson, who grew up watching him, he idolized him, and that plays out pretty well. But however, when of course Blue Panther ran out of his rope breaks, there was no escape from Lee Moriarty when he applied, of course, the Border City Stretch onto him through the ropes, and just like that, Blue Panther had no choice but to tap. But on the note, because of this match, it was foretold that Lee Moriarty has surpassed one of the longest reigning pure wrestling champions of ROH history, and that is, of course, Nigel McGuinness. So basically, Lee Moriarty has surpassed him. So that's pretty much what we do know. So congratulations on that part. Now, our next match, this is for the ROH World Tag Team belts. The Infantry finally making another claim for these belts. But what's interesting is they did a little promo. Now, for all those who don't know, July 11th is, of course, is when Superman came out. I haven't seen it yet, but I will probably see it next week. So we'll see how that goes. But what's funny is we did see that whole thing like, look, it's a bird, it's a plane. And then we see a little girl like, Papa, and that's Sammy Guevara doing the Superman, like, and of course Dustin Rhodes like, what are you doing? So they were like saying like, I'm a superhero. So, and later he told him that he had a suit for him. He's like, no. And Sam's like, oh yeah, you're doing it. And of course it turned out to be he's dressing up as Green Lantern. So I thought the match was pretty great on that. I mean, it was pretty good. But however, of course, that fat bastard Shane Taylor decided, oh, I'm going to make sure that they win the belts. So he whacked, of course, Dustin Rhodes to ensure. But thank God for Sammy for showing up to stop. So, of course, there was going to be interference and all this stuff. That was something, of course, that Shane Taylor is determined to do. But, however, it was not enough because Sammy Guevara were able, of course, to pick up the win onto Sean Dean with the Swanton. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, of course, Shane Taylor, who is a big whining crybaby, who cannot stand the fact that they can't believe they lost again, they brought in reinforcement, Lee Moriarty and Anthony Ogogo. But thank God for the Von Erichs. So basically, Dustin had enough of their crap, so he decided to take this into the OK Corral or some sorts at All In, possibly in the 0 hour. So it's going to be, of course, the Von Erichs and the Sons of Texas taking on, of course, Shane Taylor Promotions. But what's interesting, Kevin Von Erich is going to be there. So I can't wait to see that. So as you all know, I mentioned on a news update that, of course, Kevin Von Erich is now signs a Legend deal. So this is perfect because you got to remember, you're in Texas. So, Von Erichs are Texas royalty in the pro wrestling world. So let's move on. Now, our next match, we have the ROH World Television title. Titan, as you all know, survived a proving ground match in Arena Mexico during Global Wars. Nick Wayne has to defend it. Now, of course, Mama Wayne was there by his side to ensure everything goes well. But, of course, she got caught with the cookie jar when she helped Nick Wayne's foot be on the rope, and the ref told her to leave. Now, of course, we were seeing moments where Titan was hurting himself every time he tried to do a stomp. But out of nowhere, that idiot Kip Sabian shows up out of the blue and helps them. So yeah, so that kind of destroyed it. And then Nick Wayne applied the Prodigy suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he retained the title. And of course, that idiot Christian Cage showed up to congratulate his son. Sooner or later, Nick Wayne will probably have to lose the belt. Now, we did see an interview with Red Velvet. Apparently, Red Velvet is out of action due to injury, so she has to give up her title and put it into an internship against whoever walks out in a worldwide fatal four-way match. And she said that she will be once she makes her return, she gets first dibs of it. So that kind of sets it up. So she is going to be in the front row. Now, who is involved in this? Well, we have, of course, the Pink Striker, Miyu Yamashita. We have the magical girl, Yuka Sakazaki. But if you guys notice, she was dressed in black. If you guys don't know, I'll explain later. We have, of course, Persephone. And then, of course, everyone who loves her, Mina Shirakawa. So these type of matches, anything could go wrong. But what's interesting for those who don't know this was an interesting reunion between Miyu, Yuka, and Mina. For those who don't know, these three ladies know each other back in 2019. For those who did not know, before Mina became a big star in Stardom, she was in Tokyo Pro Wrestling, but not part of the roster, but more like a freelancer regular who shows up on those days. And that kind of sets it up. But the real question is who's walking out. And I think many of you thought the same thing, because Mina Shirakawa was able to pick up the win when she applied a figure 4 leg lock on Yamashita. And just like that, she tapped out and she is the new interim ROH Women's World Television Champion. And of course, Red Velvet, who, as you know, she has to hand over the belt. Well, she'll be seeing her when the time is right. So we'll see what Mina will do. And I'm sure many of us will see her a lot often in Ring of Honor. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, before we start our next match, which is part of our co-main events, it was announced that Shuri is coming to ROH and AEW. Yes, so basically, she did say she was coming overseas, and this is happening. But some people would think she could be aiming for the Women's Championship. Who knows? But we'll see. But I did learn that she was at StarCast, so that's interesting to see. Now, let's jump into the ROH Women's World Championship. Thunder Rosa versus Athena. Of course, Athena, as you know, has been the longest reigning ROH Women's World Champion. And Thunder Rosa is no stranger when it comes to championships. We've seen her as the AW Women's World Champion before, so this would be no different. But of course, Athena would do whatever it takes to ensure she remains champion forever. But she also has another agenda, but we'll get to that at some point. But she was able to successfully defeat Thunder Rosa by applying a submission, and just like that, she Thunder Rosa had to tap, and just like that, it was over. So she is now, of course, she retained the title. Now, our next match, we have the ROH World Championship. Bandito defends it against the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita. Now, this was a match, of course, where we've been hearing very interesting things have been going on. Bandito, of course, he knows he's not facing a slouch, so he knows how dangerous Takeshita could be. But what's interesting is how this ended. It was when Takeshita was about to apply, of course, the Raging Fire, but Bandito countered it with a inside cradle, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So he retained the championship. But of course, another challenger showed up. Now, at first, I would have assumed Blake Christian, who would probably stake this claim, but nope, it was, of course, Takeshita's fellow Don Callis family member, teammate, Hechiseto. So he takes first dibs of that. So we'll see what happens on this coming Thursday when we see them, and we'll leave as it is. But as of right now, we'll end things here for this with ROH, and let's move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. Now, a whole lot is not being put in this whole thing, but we'll do our best. So we only have one update when it comes to upcoming events. This one, of course, features French promotion Banger Zone Wrestling with their upcoming event in August, on August 30th, French Touch. And two names have been mentioned. The first one is, of course, the Megasis, Megan Bain and Joey Janela. So It's not a surprise to me that they both were in fact booked for this, because I'm sure they're gonna have a good time, because many of you may have known now that Megan Bain and Joey Janela are a couple. So I'm sure they're gonna have a great time in Paris, because as you probably know, Paris is the land of love. So so we'll leave that as it is. Now moving on. As you all know, recently with Bryan Danielson, apparently WWE has contacted him and telling him to stop with the yes chant. Look, WWE, sorry about that, okay? Look, it's not Bryan Danielson's fault because of the yes chants. That will always go with them. I don't know if they have any claims to that. That's one of the things I don't know. I mean, does anybody know if WWE uh, how to say, owns the rights to the yes chance? If there is, leave a comment down below, because I don't know. I haven't heard anything if there's any of any claim to it. That's the one thing I don't know. So let me know. Now, in the Japanese front, more specifically in the Yoshi world, I did not witness this, but this one was interesting. Recently, during a GTO anniversary show, the Queens of GTO Championship, Tomoka Inaba, defended her title against her own little sister, Asuza Inaba. And what's interesting, Asuza Inaba surpassed her sister, defeating her to become the queen of GTO. So basically, she is now the champion of that. However, she is also a double champion. She also owns hails the GTO Girls Championship. So she will be defending both belts. However, it was later told that she will be defending the GTO Girls Championship against Sayaka Kurara. Now, some of you may ask, why would she defend that belt against her? Simple. She wants to right a wrong that should have been taken care of. If you guys don't remember, Asuza Inaba, along with Rina, along with, of course, Hanan, and of course Kurara, they were the four finalists in the semifinals of the Cinderella tournament. Asuza Inaba lost to Kurara. So basically, I think she still blames her for not winning that match, and I think she thinks this match will justify her. But we have seen Kurara, how much she has changed. I wouldn't be surprised if Kurara wins this belt and takes it wherever she goes. We have Aya Sakura who's doing that, and not to mention Kurara is also up for a future championship against Hina, of course. So we'll see about that. But however, Asuza Inaba will be defending the Queen of GTO against Kiyoka Kotatsu from God's Eye. So basically, she'll be defending. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the same day or different dates. That's something I still don't know. If I do know any information about that, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible. Now, relation to Asuza Inaba, as you know, I mentioned that her older sister, Tomoka Inaba, lost the title. And it was later announced right after losing the belt, she will be doing a self-produced show on August 15th. Now, it's still unclear where it's going to be at, who's going to participate, but I feel like we still got plenty of time. I'm sure she's going to decide when and where. And I'm sure this will be funded by, of course, GTO, which is obvious because that's where she's from. But we'll see. I'll let you guys know if anything is happening on that front. But as of right now, I think we are done with everything, so let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you probably can guess, we have AEW All In Texas. I'm excited for that. We even got, of course, the NXT Great American Bash. Now, I don't know exactly what's the plan of that. I don't know if they're both shows are on the same time or different hours. I'm not sure, but we'll see. If I do get a chance to see both of them, I'll let you guys know. As of this moment, I am still behind on some of the Yoshi events that I definitely want to do, but I'll catch up eventually, so I'll let you guys know when we get there. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is. Until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.